Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the daily discussion for the 8th of November 2014. 5 days. 5 days to go. My name is Tusky, and today we shall be discussing your raid team in Warlords of Draenor. Now, before we start, I want to quickly mention that I'm actually recording this a day beforehand. I'm recording this on the Friday because the weekend is going to be super busy for me. I'm going to be watching BlizzCon, and I'm also going to be doing a lot of real-life stuff as well because it's an in-law's birthday, and there's going to be a whole bunch of different things going on this weekend. So, I'm not going to have much time. So, I'm doing these ahead of time, so if World of Warcraft catches fire or something like that, I'm not going to be able to talk about that in this video. So, I do apologize for that. So, let's get started. So, when I talk about your raid team in Warlords of Draenor, I'm talking about how to make them the most successful raid team you can. And there's really only one way to do that, in my opinion. And that's to basically play the game with them. And that might sound really simple, but so many people only raid with their raid team, and I think that having a raid team is much more than that. Now, before we get started with my points, I just want to say that if you don't have a raid team, this may still be helpful for your guild. And you should try to get into one if you want to get into raiding, because now is a pretty good time to find yourself a guild. A lot of them will probably be recruiting for things like Mythic and Flex modes, because they now have much more room to let in more people, so that's good. And really having a raid team at your side will make Warlords of Draenor so much more enjoyable, because of the points that I'm about to say. So, if you do have a raid team, listen up. These points may really help you a lot, and you need to remain in communication with your entire raid team, really. But if you do have a raid team, listen up. Now, these things are going to be pretty important. So, you need to remain in communication with one another throughout the entire expansion, and especially with the expansion starting now, if you're a raid leader, make sure you keep in communication with all of your raiders, especially if you're not raiding right now. Try and keep in communication with them and do a few things. So, first of all, note down what people want to play in Warlords of Draenor and see how your composition looks. If everyone wants to go tank, you're going to have to think about who you're going to let tank and who you're going to have to say, sorry, we can't have 7 tanks. 2. So make sure you do that as soon as you can. You don't have too much time left. Second of all, recruit new faces for your team. Chances are, if you're a 10-man, you won't have enough people to go into a 25-man. Because otherwise you go into 25-man, or you'd have 2 different teams. But now, with the flexible mode applying to every mode but Mythic, you will be able to bring in more or less people. And most of the time it will probably be more people, so try and recruit new faces for the team, and see if you can find anyone who has the potential to be really awesome. Remember that a lot of people aren't going to be super awesome already. You won't find someone who is already geared to the teeth, although you don't need gear right now. You won't find someone who's geared to the teeth and who knows their class inside and out, and is ready for Warlords in every single way. You just need someone who has the potential. That's what you want. You want potential as a raid leader. Next of all, plan out your raid times and know when you'll start actually raiding. It's pretty much fair to say that, if you're a consistent raid team now, you'll start raiding full-time in Warlords of Draenor as soon as the raids become available, about a week after the actual expansion launches. So make sure you communicate that to everyone. Make sure that your raid team knows when to show up, what raid you'll be doing, and what kind of steps they have to do to prepare. Make sure you research that, because you're going to have to get your team geared up, because they can't go in there with questing gear. They can't. You won't be able to do that. And most importantly, play the game together. It's really important that you do this. Raid teams aren't just for raiding, they are for all parts of the game. So do anything that you could pug with your raid team. So do LFRs together to gear up. Do the 5-mans and the heroics to gear up, because they're going to be challenging. Do the end game zones together. Maybe there'll be some good gear. Maybe grind reputation with them. Anything you can do like that. World bosses. Anything like that will be super important to help gear your people up, because by gearing up together, you increase the gear that goes onto everyone. And by having the raid team gear up together, you will grow together and allow you to raid together. You don't want to ever leave someone out behind because they just didn't get the chance. You need to provide that chance for everyone, regardless of if you're a raid leader or not. You need to provide the chance for everyone in your raid team to gear up. It's really that simple. So make sure you do those LFRs, those 5-mans, those end game zones, those heroics together, because A, you'll need the gear, and B, they're going to be quite challenging. They really are, especially the heroics. I hear they're going to be pretty nasty, and you should be able to do them if you have a coherent team. And that's really what it's about, having a coherent team. By doing that, you will not only get your gear faster because you can do more and you won't wipe as much, you'll actually improve the teamwork of your team. So it's pretty simple, this. The more your team works together, the more they'll get used to working together. So things like communication skills will increase, cohesion will get stronger, individual players will learn more, and your friendships will improve. It's really good for everyone in all kinds of different ways. So just play the game together if you can get the chance. Not doing things together, being lazy, it will only drive your raid team apart. If someone says in guild chat, for instance, I'm putting together a 5-man heroic group, anyone want to join me? Make sure you get involved. Make sure you do that kind of thing. Because if you don't, you're only hurting your guild and your raid team, and yourself, essentially, especially at the start of the expansion, because there's a chance that you'll probably need those 5-man heroics. So just think about that. And remember that most of the ways that people do things these days, where not really getting involved in things like scenarios and 5-mans and things like that, you're going to need to do those if you want to raid. So make sure you get involved and do that stuff, and it'll be a great time to be in your raid and your guild. So make sure you get onto that as quickly as you can. Not only that, but encouraging other players to do the same in your guild and your raid team will help you dramatically. Running 5-mans as a team instead of pugging will help you so much in early Warlords of Draenor. And mixing up LFR pugs with a chunk of your raid team will help things go incredibly smoothly, because at the start of Warlords of Draenor, LFR is going to be a nightmare. It really is. Hopefully lots of raid teams will do this, and a lot of pugs will end up kind of half pug, half raid, which would be good. And especially if you have a tank and healer position filled by your guildies, things will go really well. So make sure you do this stuff together, alright? And going the extra step will be great. Make sure you get into the habit, because having fellow guildies and raiders around you will help you hugely, not only in gearing up and knocking down bosses in the long run, but it will also help you find new friends, solidify the relationships that you have with other people, and it's just fun to play games together. You can't really argue with that, it really is. So it will really help you in the long run by doing this. Warlords of Draenor, things are going to be different. They really are. And it's going to be hugely different from the way things are now. Things aren't going to be easy. I mean, you may be able to rush through the Siege of Orgrimmar right now on normal or heroic or mythic, but it is easy compared to what Warlords of Draenor is going to be like, alright? So be prepared for that fact. You're going to be undergeared, and it's going to be end content. It won't be like it is now, because like I said in all of my other daily discussions about patch 6.0, we are not max level anymore. We are essentially doing old content when we raid. So, you have to be prepared for things to be very different, alright? Because it's going to be so different, and it's going to be surprising, so be prepared to be surprised in the long run in Warlords of Draenor. Especially when we first start out, prepare for things to be very different, and prepare to get your ass handed to you, because that's what raiding is about. Getting your ass handed to you, and then getting your ass handed to you a little bit less. Smashing your face against the wall over and over and over again until you get it right. So if you want to do that, you're going to need the gear, because otherwise you'll never get through that wall. You need the gear to get through the wall of progression, because every boss will be progression. So get ready. Raiding is going to be awesome. I'm really excited about it, but you have to make preparations now, and you have to be prepared to do stuff in Warlords of Draenor. You can't just show up at raid day and hope everyone has done the same thing. Some people may do that. You have to get out of that mindset. You have to say, we need to do this together, because that's what raiding is about, working together. So get your team ready together, and you'll have a fun time killing bosses together. So that's kind of it. It's really quite a short daily discussion today, but I think it's very important, a message that everyone needs to realize and spread, that you have to do these things together when Warlords of Draenor launches. You're going to have to do the 5-mans, the LFRs, the endgame zones, the reputations, the world bosses. Make sure you pug them as little as you can. Make sure you get that stuff done together, because that way you'll be able to go into all these raids, kick some ass, get yourself some gear, and be the envy of everyone else on your bloody server, right? You'll be wandering around in that tier gear, and people will say, damn, those people are good. And you know why? Not because you're super top of the end skilled. You don't need that to raid. You really don't. You need teamwork and cohesion. That is what you need. By having those two things and combining it with a little bit of personal skill, you'll start mashing your way through these bosses. You'll figure out the strategies, and you can do all of that, but you need the gear to be your foundation, because without that foundation, you just won't be able to get through things. You won't be able to out-heal the boss's damage. You won't be able to defeat the berserk timer. You need to be able to do those things before you can start progressing. So make sure you hit the ground running as an individual and as a raid team. So get to it, is what I say. Get your raid team prepared and kick some ass when you enter Warlords of Draenor. I really think that everyone can do it, and that you just need to get off your ass and do it. That's what I say to myself. Get off your ass, see what people want to play, relay it to your raid leader, and let them figure it out. Prepare yourself to do 5-mans and LFRs and all that stuff together with your raid team. If you step up and be the guy that does that, or the girl, if you step up and be the folk that does that, if you folks do that stuff, you step up and you say, I will help you, or let's do this, you will set an example, and it will encourage copycat behavior, and people will go, actually, you know what, that's a good idea, I'll do that too. And then if you have everyone doing that, you're sorted. Hard to do, really is, but you can do it. So that's what I say. Just do your best to make that the situation, and you should be just fine. So that's it for today's daily discussion. Quite short, but quite important, I think, in terms of preparing for Warlords of Draenor and getting your mindset in the zone. So that's it for today's daily discussion. I hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. Today's piece of music will be from the Sunwell. It shall be the moment when Kil'jaeden emerges from the Sunwell and lays siege to Azeroth, and you are the only people that can stop him. If you don't shove him back into the Sunwell, Azeroth will be destroyed. It will be the end of the world, and it really is some pretty epic music, combined with some Blood Elf themes, because that's where the Sunwell is, and it's pretty damn awesome. Hopefully you guys enjoy that. As always, if you have suggestions for topics or you wish to send me your questions to answer on the daily discussion, you can contact me using the links in the description, or you can just leave a comment. Make sure you join the discussion on reddit.com/r/Tusky. Thank you very much for watching, and I wish you the best of luck with your gaming endeavors.